The following podcast has been rated PGN. Parental guidance is neglected.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a little father-son chat.
I am your father.
Father, if you can hear me, I failed.
Don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I'm here with my dad.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I've abandoned my boy!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Parental Guidance Neglected. I'm Jackson Burns, and that's Regan Burns. He's my father.
I am your
welcome
father.
back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Do most people know that?
I'm glad to have you on my show.
Yeah, most people don't realize this. This is Jackson's podcast. I'm just the only guest star that he can get each week.
Yeah, this is actually true. I can't get anybody else. Everyone else keeps not responding to my emails. It's really frustrating. So
he can't.
If you want to be on the show, don't actually DM me because this is a bit, and I won't accept your invitation.
It's a comedy bit. We need more
comedy bit the whole time.
Bits and pieces. How you doing, buddy? You and
I'm doing good.
You and I just got back from a movie. We'll talk about that in a bit. It's been a very long week. First off, our apologies. We did have to skip a week again. Last week, I put out some teasers that we were going to have a show last weekend, and then Jackson had a ton of stuff come up with work, and I don't know. Why didn't we do it just didn't work out somehow. We saw.
Yeah, things kept popping up for both of us, and it was just not. It didn't end up working
and
out.
you couldn't.
And then I couldn't see Thor. It took forever for me to go see Thor.
Yeah, I'm moving my camera a little bit here. Yeah, it's better.
Yeah, adjust that camera.
It's better. Yeah, you didn't go see Thor right away, and if you can't talk about the big movie, what's the point? So now we're a little weak.
Yeah, there's no point.
And then we were like, oh, no, we're going to be all backed up on movies. We have last weekend and we have this weekend to see. And then we realized the only thing really opening this weekend was, I don't know, some girl fishing for crawdads or something. And we were
it was the Crawdad movie. And then there was one where it was a period piece movie that looked made for TV as hell.
Some lady goes to Paris to get Mrs. Pettigrew.
Oh
goes to Paris to get a dress.
Some old lady goes to Paris and finds herself in her later years.
Oh, I bet the films are both so charming, but
I bet they're so charming.
We being men and film snobs. Did we see either one of those movies, Jackson?
No, we did not. Unless you did. I did not.
If those movies came, a lot of people may not know this, but I get screeners of films since I vote for some of the awards. So they send me screeners. If they sent me a screener for free of where the crawdads dance or sing or whatever crawdads do,
yeah,
and it got a bunch of nominations for awards, would you then sit down and watch it, at least in the comfort of your home, or would you be like, I just can't?
I might watch it in the comfort of my own. How long is it?
It's four and a half hours.
No,
it hasn't.
That would be. It
has an intermission.
If that were the case, then I would probably pass on that. But if it was like a 2 hour 15 long movie, I would do it. Probably just so I could have an input on when we do our Oscar episode. But to be honest, I have not heard any buzz around this movie at all. So
go online real quick there, Jamie, and look up what the Rotten Tomatoes score is on. Not only the Rotten Tomatoes on where the crawdads. Do they sing, dance? What do they do? I don't even remember.
They sing.
I want to know what the buzz is on that, and on the.
Oh no!
And on the.
Oh no! It's 2 hours and 5 minutes.
Okay, so you called it. You called it on duration.
Oh, geez. Wow.
What?
Okay.
What?
Critics. So audiences gave it a 95%.
Yeah. That doesn't. I don't.
Critics gave it a 35%.
Yeah. See, I don't. Rotten Tomatoes. I only look at the critics. I do not look at the audience because
the audience
people
is
are
never
idiots.
right.
They're idiots. They're idiots. I never look at it.
If you're watching this podcast and you're an audience member, we don't like you.
Yeah, we don't. I hope
it's the truth.
We just want critics to listen. So that got a 35. What did the other one, the Mrs. Willoughby gets a prom dress in Paris? Or I don't even know what it's called.
I don't even know what the movie is called, so I don't even know what to look up for. Here, new movies.
New movies.
Out now.
I don't know. She goes to Paris and gets a dress, and I'm like, I can't drag myself to a theater to watch that.
Jeez, it's not even coming up.
It's like, ooh, he's delightful. Woo, all that, woo, British.
What is I can't even find it. This is.
Didn't it open? Did it open? I think it did, didn't it?
It definitely did, but Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
Oh my God! Even the name is excruciatingly horrible.
Christ, that's terrible.
What are the critics saying about Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris?
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
So the audience is 97%.
Again, I give no credence to that whatsoever.
The critics gave it a 93%.
Oh, really? Oh.
I don't care. I will not go see this.
You're not going to go see
movie.
Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris?
That did not even close to convince me to go see this movie.
Jackson, it got a 90. I feel like we're letting down our film audience now. I mean, they're like,
that's
hey.
okay, because we listen. We have enough movies to talk about this week as it is. Shoving in some. Listen, it's not for me. It's not made for me.
Speaking of movies, your dance card just got really crowded. That's another thing. Is you're working on
my dance card?
Yeah, your dance card. Your free time.
Is that a saying? I've never heard of that before. Oh.
Well, that's what's great about Parental Guidance Neglected is I get to bring all these old terms from the 30s and 40s back.
There you go, for me to learn for the first time.
That means you're very busy. You have no room to dance with anyone else because you've got dances from. You're gonna make a little. You and some buddies are working on a film, right?
Yeah, we're working on just like a fun little short film to do here at the tail end of summer. Mm-hmm. Nothing too crazy, but.
Just something to do over the summer in between your work days before you head back to school.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's gonna be in the movie?
It's gonna be me. I'm playing a very small role.
Oh, you're in it.
The star is gonna be a teenage girl.
Really. And where did she study acting? I'm assuming you're using classically trained actors.
No, classically trained in the high school theater program.
Oh my God.
Pretty high up there. No, the actress we're using is actually really great, and I'm actually excited to be working with her. So,
if there was only someone who lived in your house who had a degree in theater and went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts,
and was also a teenage girl, then that would be perfect.
I can play
absolutely correct.
Anything. I am a character.
Anything?
Actor. Yeah. Anything except a Boston accent. We learned that this week.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh my God. Do you want to tell that story?
I had to do a comedy. I didn't have to do. I willingly did a comedy show for my friend Jimmy Pardo called Pop Cultured at Flappers in Burbank this week, and very fun show. Great, like a panel show where we get to do a lot of trivia and play games. But one of the games we had to play is we had to dub a movie with a Boston accent. Dude, I don't. Well, look at you smiling.
You can't do a Boston. Try doing it right now.
I could do like a couple words. Like if I went, you wicked smart, the army.
Yeah. I think
it's maintaining.
You tend to always move to New York.
I go to New York, so I'll start out be like, "Hey, man, where you park your car?" And next thing you know, I'm like, "Hey, what you talking about? It's Tony."
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't maintain Boston. So I will not be in the sequel to Good Will Hunting. And I think we all want to see that sequel, don't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you like that movie, Good Will Hunting, Jackson?
I did. I liked it. It wasn't like. I mean, I went in thinking like this is going to be one of the greatest films of all time, and it wasn't. It was definitely. I thought it was. Huh?
It won an Oscar. It won Best Screenplay.
It did. I don't know what it went up against, but I think it was. I mean, I thought the screenplay was somewhat solid. Robin Williams made the film. Yeah. But I think Dead Poet Society is better. That's just a better movie.
I agree.
He has a better performance. The child actors in that movie have a better performance.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just better.
You
in every possible way.
You know how much I hate Robin Williams. I mean,
Yeah, I know, which is actually like.
But it's always the caveat. I hate Robin Williams in comedies. He's in some of my favorite dramas. I mean, I love World According to Garp. I think Dead Poets Society is great. 1 Hour Photo is fantastic. But the second he puts on Mrs. Doubtfire or a Bicentennial Man or a
Mrs. Doubtfire's a children's movie, to be fair.
Oh, he's just not Popeye. He's just not funny. He was never funny to me.
Well, you're listing off his kids' movies. You have like Good Morning Vietnam. Come on, like throw some respect.
Oh, that's
on his
so
name,
schlocky. Oh my God. I hate morning DJs as it is. I don't want to see a movie about Good Morning Vietnam. I'm doing my voice.
Listen, it's just not for you. It's just not for you.
Doesn't hold up.
I'm willing to accept that.
Doesn't hold up. It's the Parental Guidance is Neglected podcast. 2 generations talking films. We'll get back. Let's go ahead and just start up with the ones from last week.
Where do you want to start?
I almost feel like we don't even need spoilers because we're 2 weeks late to this. I mean, if you haven't seen Thor,
we don't need spoilers. I'm not going to get spoilers.
If you haven't seen Thor: Love and Thunder, and you're just dying not to, if something slips, it slips. Chris Hemsworth is back as the Thor god of biceps or getting waxed and working out before they shoot you. I don't know what he's god of. This is the 4th. Is that right, Jackson? The 4th Thor movie, I think.
This is the fourth installment.
Yeah.
The 4th Thor installment, the second one being directed and written, I think, by Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Thor came out of the gates a little slow with the first couple. They were not really critically received well. All of them make money because it's Marvel, but...
yeah, of course.
People have been like, the first 2 Thor movies, very forgettable. It got regenerated almost as a comedy with Ragnarok. And this time they brought back Mr. Wakuna Matati. What is Waititi?
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, to direct this one as well. Natalie Portman's back as She-Hulk, Thor, or whatever. She's got the biceps now. Tessa Thompson's back as Valkyrie, and we got a new villain this time. Obviously, the much anticipated Christian Bale plays Gore, the God Killer. I'm not sure I completely ever got that whole story, but I got the gist of it.
They kind of rushed the story.
They rushed that a little bit. And Russell Crowe's in this one, looking just as plump as ever, playing Zeus. That's got to be tough. Yeah. Russell Crowe, hey, you know what? Hats off to him. To share the screen with Chris Hemsworth, who looks literally like a god, and then he's got to come out and
looks like he looked like in Gladiator.
Yeah, I know. And then he has to come out in that tank top, and he's got them big flabby arms. So I was like, "You go, Zeus." Russell Crowe's like, "Whatever, I'm getting a check."
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think there was at some point where they're like, "Hey, Russell, maybe you have a few less Egg McMuffins the next couple months as we prepare to shoot, and maybe you are playing Zeus, a god." I wonder if there was ever like a... Probably not.
I don't think so. I think they hired him on purpose like that because this character was kind of more of like the... Like, he was like all show and no substance, so I thought it kind of worked for his character.
Yeah. Well, the movie is extremely colorful, much like Ragnarok. It's incredibly similar in pace and style and, shall I say, attempts at comedy. I think there was a lot more fails than there were succeedings. What would you call? There was more
successes.
Yeah, successes. Thank you. Got a little brain fart there. You go. First reactions, Jackson. What do you think? You're.
It's funny. I was looking at reviews of the movie afterwards after I saw it. Just kind of scrolling through and seeing what the perception was.
Yeah.
And one of the best I think quotes was like, "Are we sure Natalie Portman is a good actress?" Oh. I mean, it was kind of like what happened? I really her character in this was really not doing it for me, at least. I didn't really buy her character. She didn't. I don't feel like any kind of chemistry that the two of them had.
She got to play the dying of cancer card. She got to
She did get to play the dying of cancer card, which I thought was. I mean, I'm sure maybe in the comics it comes up. I don't think it really added or took anything away from the story, at least in my
Natalie
opinion.
Portman is a great actress. Black Swan, The Professional.
I haven't seen Black Swan. I have seen Leon the Professional, but that was like...
Yeah, she's...
I don't remember that much about that.
With the right script, she's really good. But I can agree with you that it's maybe not Natalie Portman showcase. Were you excited to see her as the mighty Thor?
No, I mean, look, I've seen the trailer for this millions of times just from the amount of movies that we've seen lately. So I mean, we all knew it was coming. Obviously, I didn't know the cancer aspect was going to be as big of a part of it as it was. I think I agree with you where you said a lot of comedic attempts were made, and I found myself laughing very few times.
Yeah.
I thought that the highlight of this movie was unsurprisingly Christian Bale. It made me really want a movie where he played kind of like that character, but in a better film, if that makes sense. I like his take on it.
He's wasted though. He's completely and utterly wasted in this. Not
100%. I thought you meant wasted, like drunk. And
he's not utilized properly, and not even a little bit. He's in a completely different movie than the rest of the cast.
For sure.
It's this dark, brooding story of losing a child, and the next thing you know, you're cutting to just slapstick Guardians of the Galaxy stuff and Thor fat again, and
giant goats.
I'm gonna cut right to the chase here. I absolutely hated this film. I'm with you on that. I've been pulling my punches a little bit, but it was not a good movie. Not only did I hate it, it enraged me. It made me so angry to sit there and go, you've got all this talent, and you guys are, in many ways, you're just trying to do Ragnarok again. They weren't doing
400%.
anything new. They're going for the same type of jokes. The Rock dude was not funny. I forget Corgi or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Korg. They sucked the life out of Korg. Korg was. I loved Korg in Ragnarok. Yeah. I couldn't. In this one, he almost dies, and I was like, fine.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Who cares? He's a face now. That's fine.
The movie tonally is all over the map. I'm like, 1 minute it's silly romance, and then it's a comedy. And then it's dark, and kids are being abducted and dying, and Christian Bale is literally on another planet in another film. It was so, and I'm just like, oh, they're trying to do everything, and they're failing at all of it. I was so utterly mad with this film.
Here's what's so interesting.
Because I remember how great Ragnarok was.
Yeah, we both liked Ragnarok. I mean, it was really refreshing, especially after the first two. Mm-hmm. It's funny because it almost feels like Christian Bale was pulled from the first two. Like he was very similar to Christopher Eccleston, I think is his name, in one of the first two, character-wise. But then the rest was just Ragnarok, which was weird. But here's what I was thinking the whole time: is that obviously at this point Marvel knows that whatever they put out is going to make money. Like whatever they put out, people are going to rush to go see regardless.
Right.
So they don't need to worry about audience perception as much as, say, like an A24 movie or something like that. It's so interesting to me, though, that they choose to... All these big studios seem to run away from every kind of critical hit that they... Like, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, too. We've seen the ad for Black Adam like a million times now.
Yeah.
That's a DC movie. That's the same company that made The Batman, which was a great movie that almost was universally loved. And it's like, why was it that was such a good... Like, you had such a good thing, but you're choosing to make this shit.
Yeah.
Why are you doing... Like, it didn't make sense to me. With this, I get it because Taika Waititi, like, Ragnarok was a good movie. It got very good reception.
Yeah.
And they wanted to do it again. But you can't just copy and paste what worked from all the Thor movies and shove it into one thing.
Yeah.
Because then you just end up with, like, this, just getting we're steaming through the plot as fast as we can to get to the comedy moments.
Yeah. It's like Marvel, they make something like Black Panther, they make Thor Ragnarok, they make the last Spider-Man movie, they make these great films where you go, okay, I think we're onto something here, Marvel. And then they turn around and you get Doctor Strange in the multi Who Cares verse and this
oh my god,
Morbius and
I could not give less of a fuck about the end credit scenes in this one. Oh my! I was like, what is happening? What is happening? I'm not gonna say what they are because those do kind of those are like a little spoilery, but why were either of those necessary?
Well,
at all.
One of the scenes pretty much again, it's one of my biggest problems with the Avengers and the way there's nothing's vested anymore because no one's ever dead. There's always a way to bring someone back.
No one's ever dead, and I'm never surprised by any plot point because it always, besides like the big ones, like, oh yeah, Iron Man died in Avengers, but like every character that shows up, I'm like, I was expecting you. You know why? Because you were in the end credit scene 2 movies ago. You're a massive actor.
Right.
You were gonna come back. They're not losing you.
Right. So
stop treating your audience like 10-year-olds.
Needless to say, one of the teaser scenes is everyone who's dead may not be, or they're going to find a way back. And then the last credit scene sets up a possible villain for the future. And that seems to be the trend right now. They have to introduce a new character. Doctor Strange brought in that, I still don't know who she is, Charlize Theron's character, who shows up in what?
I didn't even see Multiverse of Madness. That wasn't even. I never got the chance to watch it.
Yeah, well, she shows up as a character I've never heard of. Now we have another character who I've read up a little bit on, and apparently kind of goes back and forth from villain to good guy, depending on how it goes. Another. Geez, for every hit they have, it seems like there's 4 or 5 misses for Marvel. And
100%.
It's not an F for me. I mean, it's not that bad, but man, did it just make me mad the entire time.
Yeah, for sure.
Thor: Love and Thunder gets a solid D for me.
Yeah. Needless to say, I'm exhausted. I can't do more of this. I can't do more.
There's
of
more
this superhero. I'm so superheroed out. I'm so franchised out. If I were to see another like horrible Star Wars sequel or Marvel movie, I'm gonna lose my hair. 3 out of 10 for Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah. I am curious to see what they do with Wakanda Forever, the next Black Panther movie without Chadwick.
I actually got the beginning. I actually got some of that spoiled for me. The plot leaked, and I stumbled upon it. So I know what they're doing. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying I know what they're doing.
Right. Are you excited for the next Ant-Man and Wasp movie? Yeah, me neither.
Didn't even know there was going to be one.
Yep.
And I don't even remember if I saw the last one. So
there's a third one. PGN podcast. Sorry. Look, many people may have seen it. It's been out 2 weeks, but if you haven't, don't. Don't
bother.
So
you're fine.
I was not excited to see Thor. I mean, I said, I'll see it, but I was like, I wasn't like, oh, I can't wait to see what he does with his mighty anvil. I was excited to see the movie that we went and saw together. The only film we got, one of the only 2 films we got to see, and that is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I think it's open pretty wide now. We saw it when it was just a limited release here in Los Angeles, but I think it's moved on to the theater. So
it's moving around. Yeah,
moving around. So if you're in a bigger city area, you should be able to see it. Directed by Dean Fleischer Camp, and also co-created by Jenny Slate, funny comedian who lends her voice to the character Marcel. It's a very odd film. It's about a shell who gets left behind at an Airbnb when his family of other shells and pencils and
small little household
small knickknacks.
items.
I think it's knickknacks. His family of
knickknacks. Yeah,
his family of knickknacks.
That's a good place to put it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, through a turn of events, gets taken away, and then it's a good. I'd say the first half of the film is him kind of bonding with the current renter of the Airbnb, who just so happens to be a documentary filmmaker and decides to tell Marcel's story as he lives there alone in the Airbnb, taking care of his grandmother, voiced by Isabella Rossellini. And let's just say 60 Minutes comes into play, which I thought was kind of clever.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Marcel, Mr. Burns?
Yeah. This is probably like the feel good movie of the year, I'd say.
So far,
I would say so far. I mean, I came out of this feeling very happy. I was smiling. This was honestly just a solid movie experience. I was really happy with this movie. It gave me exactly what I was looking for from the trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
I loved the character. I mean, you just fall in love with Marcel from the second that she's on the screen. Or sorry, is it? I can't remember.
It's a he, but it's voiced by
he,
Jenny,
right.
who's a woman. Yes.
Right. But I also like that it didn't shy away from kind of like the more sad moments as well. You know, we got to see a little bit of a sad side of the film as well. I did like this a lot.
I knew there were going to be moments that were going to try to. I mean, you could see them coming a mile away that were going to kind of manipulate the tears. And I do remember a couple times in the theater going like, Are they really going to try to make me cry over a shell? You know, I mean, it's like, am I really, am I that invested in it? And I don't think I blubbered or anything, but you know, you get a little choked up during, I mean, they know when to hit the music. Really the standout here is Jenny Slate. It's really the voice. It's the
fantastic.
It's the voice performance.
100%.
The writing is incredibly clever. I can tell that they improv the hell out of it. I think I read somewhere that they did all the voice stuff first and then shot it afterwards. So I'm sure they probably just played with just probably her talking and talking.
100%. Yeah.
And lifted.
Just hours of audio, I'm sure.
You know, and a lot of the film's meandering at times, you know, just kind of watching Marcel go through how he gets up and down walls or the errands of taking care of his grandma or, you know, it takes a bit of a turn when he, in fact, becomes an internet sensation, very much like the short that this movie is based on. And then, like I said, the 60 Minutes stuff with Leslie Stahl, I thought was perfect that they had actually Leslie Stahl from 60 Minutes in.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was a sweet film. I wanted to love it. I wanted to be like, you know, I think there was a part of me who was like, oh, can this be the next Everything Everywhere? You know,
it's actually wild how much that movie has set the tone for the year. It's actually
it's a film that I highly recommend. It's super sweet. It's charming.
Take your family. It's just the perfect way I can describe this is just watch it to just get away and just enjoy seeing this shell's like perspective on life, because it's really interesting. I think my favorite quote from the whole thing is she kind of turns around and looks at him and goes, "Do you know why I smile all the time?" And he goes, "No, why?" And she goes, "'Cause it's worth it."
Yeah.
And that was really a sweet moment. Yeah. Like you said, a lot of clever writing moments. Yeah. Surprisingly funny too, I think at times.
Yeah. It's the movie. Yeah. It's a movie that I really, really, really liked, but I can't say I just love, you know, I can't quite go to that A.
Yeah, that's fair.
So Marcel the Shell with shoes on for me gets an incredibly solid. Want to give it an A, but I'm going to give it a B+. It's right there.
All right, I think we're about in the same camp. You know, I think I'm in the same boat where I came into this thinking this could be the next Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Right.
And it wasn't, which is fine. I'm fine with that. And I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, we're right on the same page.
Look at that. You know what?
We're in
so
agreement.
far, we're on the same page.
That's probably not going to last.
This is definitely not going to last.
It's probably not going to last.
I have a feeling this is not going to last.
It's probably not going to last.
No. Which is fine. Which is good.
The great, not the great thing, but the thing is, you know, with Jackson being so busy and making his films and working and a student, and I'm running around races and trying to sell baloney to people on television. Sometimes we have to see some movies on our own. Jackson, did you see anything on your own this week? I feel like you sat and watched one or two things.
I did. Oh, I did since the last time let me just check.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking, I checked out a couple Netflix movies when I was abroad, traveling to Chicago this week. The Man from Toronto with Kevin Hart and Woody Harrelson. It's exactly what you think it is. Mistaken identity, buddy cop film. Did I laugh? Yeah, a few times. Does it drag on a bit? Sure, it does. It's a Netflix film. Netflix has a way of kind of pumping out these fluff pieces, and this is
action bits.
You know, Kevin Hart with me is hit or miss. Like if it's Night School, I'm out. Every once in a while they put him in a buddy thing, and this was decent enough. I'm going to give it a solid C. The other one I saw was The Girl in the Picture. It's a Netflix documentary. Pretty much one of those basic crime solving murder mystery thing. Man, Netflix loves the murder mysteries. But if you're in the mood for a documentary that's passable enough, It's okay. I think it's like 3 or 4 episodes, maybe an hour each. So I think it's good for a flight, but not much more. I give that a C-. What did you see, Jackson? Anything this week on your own?
Did I talk about Ran last episode?
No, I don't think you did. Was that? I don't know. Well, I know you dragged your sister to it.
Yeah, I dragged my sister to go see a Kurosawa movie called Ran. Not my favorite of his. I've only seen 2. I've only seen this and Seven Samurai. I like Seven Samurai more, but this was definitely, I think, a far more visually stunning movie. A little cinematography, definitely did drag, but, that's okay. Solid 7 out of 10. As for things that I saw more recently, I took the time to sit down and finally watch Man on the Moon.
That's right. Yeah, you told me that. Yeah. I
actually saw the documentary. I saw the documentary Jim and Andy about it before I saw the movie, so I kind of came in with the context of knowing like what a pain Jim Carrey was to work with. Great film.
Yeah.
Great film.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this.
Milos Forman, he's gone now, but great director. People versus Larry Flint, Amadeus.
He is a great director. Coming in with the knowledge of what it was like to work with Jim Carrey, I feel like I was a little more hesitant to be like 100% on board. I get what he was doing to a degree, and I know that like he still to this day is like, no, I wasn't Jim, I was Andy. You were a dick. So I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
You're giving it a little less because you've seen the documentary and know that he was a bit standoffish and.
Well, I just went in knowing like all these people hate Jim Carrey now because he was just the worst, and I know that like I get it. People are gonna be like, no, but like that's what Andy Kaufman did. Kind of.
No, completely. That's what Andy Kaufman did.
Completely.
He loved pissing people off. That was his whole thing, was to get them as mad and riled up as he could.
Well, okay, but I'm just coming in with the perspective of the movie, and he did piss people off, but it was always for. How can I put this? There was always, I feel like, a reason behind it.
Right.
Like in the taxi scene when he's like brings in the prostitutes and he's playing what's the character name? I'm forgetting.
Laka.
No, not his character in the show. Like the guy, like the drunk.
Oh yeah, the lounge singer guy.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was because they wouldn't let him off the show and they weren't letting him do what he wanted,
right.
and it was a whole thing about it. There was a reason behind it, and I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Just don't be an asshole to work with. I can't stand when people are like that. You ruin the whole set. It's not worth it. All right. The last film that I saw on my own was a documentary called Jesus Camp. About an evangelical Christian's camp for children that also tends to provide political misinformation as well as just general misinformation on how the world works.
Are you trying to tell me that there's a religious camp that indoctrinates?
Not only am I trying to tell you that, I'm also trying to tell you that the world's been around for longer than just 6,000 years. Isn't that crazy?
No, that doesn't make sense.
Becky
what are you,
Fisher
science all of a sudden?
Yeah, Becky Fisher, go fuck yourself. You're a terrible person. This documentary was terrifying, but also great. Definitely a must watch if you're looking to expand your documentary taste.
Do you know,
or just gain some knowledge about what it's like to grow up in an area like that?
Do you know how close we were to sending you to that camp when you were a little kid? Yeah,
this close.
It was art camp. We were that close. We were like, should we send him?
The two?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was I know you mentioned you had seen it, but there's this one scene where they kind of follow a group of like 4 or 5 different children throughout the whole thing, and it's insane. It's like their life is just that religion, and it's not just that, but it's also like praying to George Bush, and like constantly watching TV about like no, like creationism and evolution is fake, and they're lying to you, and it's just I cannot fathom growing up in just constantly being pegged down with like if you fuck up once, like that's it. You are going to hell forever. And terrifying film. Terrifying. But also phenomenal. 9 out of 10.
Well, all right. There you have it. There you have it. PGM. We're seeing a lot of films. We're just not going to see Mrs. Harris in Paris because I
could not be seen in a theater watching that
movie.
He
made me a dress. Oh, that makes me feel so young again. Ooh.
I feel bad. I feel bad. One of us is gonna watch that movie one day, and it's actually gonna be phenomenal.
You just told me it got like a 90 something. Maybe I'll go.
Yeah, which is shocking.
Maybe
listen,
you know what? If I'm slow this week, I know you don't have time, but if I'm slow this week, maybe I'll. I got the A list. Maybe I'll just go see it. I don't know.
And if I have time this week, I won't.
You won't.
I won't do that.
PGN podcast. For about, I'd say a year now, Jackson has been annoying the shit out of me to watch this film called,
I'm so excited.
called In the Mood for Love. Is that right? In the Mood?
It's called In the Mood for Love.
In the Mood for Love.
It is.
It's a Chinese. It's a Chinese film, right, Jackson? China.
Yeah. So
you know more about the origin of it.
It's directed by Wong Kar-wai, who is, not just in my opinion, but general consensus, one of the greatest directors.
Do you know? Not to interrupt, but I'm going to interrupt. Do you know his name's Wong Kar-wai, right? Do you know Wong is his last name?
I did know that. Because I remember saying I've seen interviews with the actors and they call him Car.
Yeah, I always have to remind myself that when Asian names are listed, they put their last name first, then their first name, then their middle name. So yeah, his name is
it is really
Car.
interesting.
Sorry, go
so
on.
This is
probably every listener knew
I
that.
Believe, I believe this came out earlier than some of his other films, but it is technically the third installment in an unofficial trilogy. But it's the kind of movie where you can still watch it without the context and not miss out on anything. It stars Tony Leung as well as I hate that I don't know this actress's name because she's so good in this. I just know Tony Leung off the top of my head.
Is it Barbara Hershey? Is it Barbara Streisand? What was her name? Was it Maureen O'Govern?
It is. I will tell you right now.
It was
Maggie Cheung.
I was gonna say Nancy McKeon. I was close.
yeah. So and the plot essentially is these two couples move into neighboring apartments in the same day, and Tony Leung's character and Maggie Cheung's character find out that their spouses are cheating on them with each other, and so it's kind of the story of how those two deal with it, possibly fall in love. It's a really, 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 really good movie. One of the most beautifully shot pieces of art I've ever seen in my life. The cinematography, not just of that movie, but just of Wong Kar-wai's films in general, are stylized in the best way possible, as well as scored to perfection, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But I've been very vocal about my love for this movie for a long time. You came in knowing I love this movie. Mm-hmm. You had a lot of questions while we were watching it.
Yeah, I annoyed Jackson a lot because I had to have him. We were watching it at home, and I had to have him pause it, and I'd be like, "Okay, who is that guy again? Is he? He's married to her, but they're living in the same apartment as this family." And I had a lot of plot questions. For whatever reason, but I had a little bit of difficulty with the plot.
I feel like your plot questions were mostly cultural barriers.
Yes, they were.
Like where it was just like you couldn't, like, the names were very similar,
right?
At least from an American perspective, and the locations were like tricky to understand because of like the dynamic with neighbors is different overseas. But
yeah, it's like everyone's always together and eating, and I'm like, wait, I thought they're neighbors. Why are they having dinner together? And so I did have a lot of questions along the way. Okay, Jackson, I know you love this film, and here's what I'm going to say.
Before you say it, I have to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Whatever you say, because you tend to do this sometimes,
mm-hmm.
and I just want to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
I love this film.
Yes, I know. Trust me, I've been listening to you frickin'
know. I just need the listeners at home to know that if he tries to do the, like, only the art school kids like this movie, it's not true. Without Wong Kar-wai, Pulp Fiction is never made. Okay? I just need to say that. Very influential filmmaker. Mm-hmm. Like, one of the highest rated films of all time is In the Mood for Love.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay.
And with that being said, your opinion is valid no matter what.
Of course it's valid. It's probably...
just keep that in mind.
It's not only valid, it's probably the one that most people listen to.
Right, okay.
That's just the way it goes. This is a beautifully shot film. The cinematography is outstanding. As you said, the score is amazing. It is lit beautifully. It is most definitely a filmmaker's film. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not going, only arts and like. But this is a film that people who really
I can understand
people
that.
who really appreciate the art of filmmaking, this is right up there. You can go, it looks as though every shot is a piece of art. It's not like let's get a POV real quick of his close-up.
And not without purpose, because almost every shot has in some way like a way to progress the story if you're paying attention, in my opinion. Okay.
So as a piece of filmmaking, it's impeccable. There's no arguing, and I could see where a generation of film students and young filmmakers would have watched this and been inspired to go on and do similar and make things.
I'm waiting for the but.
Who said there was a but?
I had to prepare myself.
Then there's the story itself. I very much like the possible romance that brewed between the two of them. I like the fact that when they first met and saw each other, for the first several scenes, I don't even think they even registered each other. It was kind of like, hello. It didn't go. Yeah. It didn't go to that from the moment I saw her, or something in me. It was almost like they were thrust together by the consequences of their spouses having an affair. I thought there was some incredibly smart, and I even had to ask you about it a few times, but I didn't know if I was watching a real scene between them or if we found out that they were in fact play acting, trying to figure out what had transpired between their spouses had. So there's some really neat things done with, are they pretending to say what they feel, or are they really starting to feel
right?
My biggest problem, and I'm not going to say my problem with the film because I very much enjoyed it.
Okay.
I was not a fan of the last 10 minutes of the movie.
Really? That's interesting because that's my favorite part.
I know. I'm sure it was. And I'll tell you why. I thought the time jumps were abrupt. I didn't think they had time to breathe. I think we were just kind of thrust into something. And they kind of lost power for me. It was kind of like, you're like, okay. 6 years goes by. And then someone wanders into a place that they remember being together. Or he's the whispering scene, shall we see. And I already told you there was just a weird moment of history documentary. It felt so out of place from it's like suddenly we had this film where every shot was artistic and about this building this, and then suddenly we had documentary footage of Cambodia and the French Charles Segal getting off a plane, and it was just abrupt, and it just didn't feel. The last 5 or 10 minutes, I went, I don't know if they're sticking the landing here.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, for me, the landing just wasn't stuck. It was rushed. The time jumps didn't work. It lost some of the human connection and emotion. I kind of liked the whole when she hunted him down and broke into his apartment kind of thing at the end. Again, it just all felt very hurried. And even at that point, I had to ask you, so this is what happened? It just didn't have time to breathe for me. That is the only thing that is keeping me from giving this film a better grade.
Okay.
Is the last 10 minutes. Otherwise, In the Mood for Love, for me, gets an A-.
Okay, I was not expecting that. I was not. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm very pleasantly surprised.
But it's not an A. It's not an A+, and this is not ever going to make my list of the top 100 films of all time. You got to be an A+.
That's fine. I do not need that.
But it is.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It is incredibly well acted. It's shot beautifully. It's a really good story and smart. But boy, the 10 minutes, I thought he shot himself in the foot.
Really? Okay.
I do.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I almost like it better like that because one of the major motifs of the whole movie is that we have like a lot of slow motion shots of them kind of passing by each other, like whether it's just on the way to go get noodles or it's
it's a very
like
it's a slow
in the
burn.
hallways.
The whole movie's a slow burn.
It is,
and then it's just
but
crammed
those moments are so perfect because, and they always have the music playing over it, of course. It's such a good parallel for the whole film because the whole movie is that they're kind of passing by each other and meet for a brief moment and then leave, and that's kind of in my opinion a great parallel for the movie is that they spend this small time living next to each other. In that time they fall in love and then they leave and then they come back, and where you see that small moment when they're both back in the same apartment building again, and then they leave and then she breaks into his apartment.
I think if and when you ever go back and watch it, right when it gets to the time jump start, I think you are going to realize it is a bit jarring with the trance you've almost been put in for the first hour and a half of the film.
Okay, no, it's a fair criticism. And then of course the ending with where he speaks his secrets into the heart-wrenching. Heart-wrenching.
So,
I love it.
It just
what's interesting is actually
it threw me because 1, it wasn't a tree. 2, I'm like, where the hell is he? And 3, we were just watching documentary footage of the French president landing in Cambodia.
That's also fair. But the reason I brought it up is because they changed the ending. Because this is based off of a book.
Oh.
The movie is based off a book. And
books are always worse.
The ending is they kill themselves.
Oh, lovely.
They both kill themselves.
Oh.
So in my opinion, this is a step up from what the alternative was.
Well, yeah, that would have...
Maybe he could have done it differently, I guess, in your perspective. But I still love this movie. 10 out of 10. Perfect film. I can't not recommend this movie enough.
Okay, so it's probably on Jackson's top 10, 50, 100 list. It's not going to make mine, but if you're a huge cinema fan, and it is very romantic, and they're both so attractive just to look at. They're shot beautifully. It's worth hunting down. It is the PGN podcast. Next week, Jackson, before we get to our last film of the day to discuss, next week...
We got 2 more.
2 more? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We do 2 more. Well, let's jump right in. Well, here at the PGN podcast, we do a thing where we each get to pick a classic film that we want to see and have not seen, and we make the other one watch it. Last week I picked 2 weeks ago I picked Network, the Oscar winner. And this week, Jackson picked Jim Jarmusch's film. I think it's fair to say a hit and miss director. Some of his stuff I love. Some of his stuff in the past I have not. This was called Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai. A lot of people who are big film fans probably know this movie. A lot of you may love it. It's got a big cult following from 1999. It tells the story of Forrest Whitaker. You remember him from The Crying Game. I don't know. Where is he? I haven't seen him in...
He played that small role in that Rogue One movie, that Star Wars movie. Remember that?
Oh, that was like 7-8 years ago.
That might have been his last. I haven't seen him in anything.
Maybe
lately.
He's retired. I don't know. He plays a hitman in this who gets hired by local mafioso guys to take out some of their enemies, but he also follows a credo, a quote unquote way of the samurai. The movie is filled with a ton. And I do mean a ton of quotes from some book about the way of samurai.
I think the book is called The Way of the Samurai.
Yeah, way too many quotes, in my opinion.
Oh, really? I like that part.
Yeah, I liked it too the first 25 times it happened, and then it just kept coming and coming and coming. This is a very uneven film for me. Forrest Whitaker, always strong. Doesn't get much to say, though. He's kind of the brooding type here. The acting of the gangsters, which is kind of the secondary story, there's a whole world going on with them. Very sub-level acting. I feel like the casting for this film is all the guys who didn't quite make it into Goodfellas. It's like, they were close to playing Paulie Walnuts in The Sopranos, but they didn't get it. So it feels like third-tier New York City Tony Soprano types, a lot of fat guys and busting what are the names, like Mikey Two Balls and Handsome Henry and all that.
Fat Frank or something.
So many times this film was it would go back and forth. The Forrest Whitaker stuff would kind of pull me in, and then there'd be extended gangster scenes that I thought were just almost comical. There's an interesting side story with him and a young girl, as well as a French ice cream man. By the way, you were asking me where you had seen that guy before. His name is Isaac de Boncolet. He is French. He was in Black Panther.
I looked him up. He's been in a bunch of stuff I've seen.
Casino
actually,
Royale, whatever. This is a very artsy film. It's very weird in tone. You got the music by RZA from Wu-Tang Clan. A very popular soundtrack. I have a feeling Jackson's a huge fan of it. I just know my son. But it's kind of weird because the tone of this movie is all over the place. It's an action film. It's a kooky gangster film. It's a esoteric kind of get into the mind of the samurai. It's a charming film. These scenes with him and the little girl. It's a revenge film ultimately. So very much like Jim Jarmusch, who seems to kind of like to jump with tones all over the place. This is a very scattered film. But I did enjoy parts of it. What about you, Jackson?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with you where I think I did like this more than you did. But I agree with you in that I wanted the movie to focus on the character of Ghost Dog and his relationship with the little girl, the French ice cream man, and also the woman, the Italian woman who he runs into a few times. Who gives him the Rashomon
that storyline takes a weird turn. The fact that how she ends up at the end. Yeah,
I like that.
She's the head of the crime family. I mean, the movie's.
Wait, what do you mean? She's the head of the crime family?
Yeah, she's the new mafioso. She's the one who told him to go out there and shoot him. She's in the car at the end.
Yeah, but I don't think she was the. I don't think was it implied that she was the head of the family.
Look it up. Yep, she took over because everyone was dead.
Oh, that went way over my head.
Yeah, in fact, she's the one who's like, "Did you take care of him? I'm the new person in town."
I thought she was just curious if she had.
No, she's all dolled up. She looks like a House of Gucci at the end.
She had been like that the whole movie.
Read up on it. She's the new gangster mafioso.
That bit went over my head, and I don't like that ending as much. But, I wanted more Ghost Dog, and I wanted less Italian. Listen, I don't have as good of an eye for bad acting because I'm not an actor or a director. It's just not my thing. So I didn't have a problem with the performances. In fact, I actually thought they were kind of funny at times. The only other Jim Jarmusch movie I've seen was The Dead Don't Die, which also had kind of a weird acting style. So I just kind of assumed that was part of his thing.
I thought you saw cigarettes and.
I saw one scene from Cigarettes and Coffee. Gotcha. And it was with Alfred Molina, and he played himself, so it wasn't really much in acting. Like you said, listen, if you're going to make a samurai movie that takes place... Where does this movie take place, by the way? Is it New York?
New York.
I'm assuming New York, right?
Yeah.
It takes place in New York with a black hitman. You have to have someone from the Wu-Tang Clan score it. And they nailed it. And this actually was really funny too. There's a scene where he's driving through the city, and he passes by I believe it's a strip club, to rob a old businessman and a prostitute was implied, I think, of their clothes. And he passes by the club, and it's called Liquid Swords, which is an album by GZA, who's also in the Wu-Tang Clan. Good little reference there.
Nobody knows the references you were making.
I do, and that's what makes him special.
What was up with the one scene where he's walking down the street and he sees some guy getting ready to mug a homeless man, and then the homeless guy pulls a karate move on him?
Oh yeah, that was weird.
That was out of nowhere
that was
and
weird.
Never came back. I'm like, what is going on?
I was expecting it. You're right.
He's like an old dude. He's
gonna go to that guy for training.
Yeah, he looks like an old decrepit dude, and then suddenly he looks like Johnny Knoxville's dressed as you could tell it was a young guy who does a twirl kick in the air and.
Yeah,
I was just
beats him up.
What the hell?
That was interesting.
That was weird. Kind of dumb.
Yeah, it was weird. But still, overall, I really did like this movie. I think Ghost Dog was an extremely interesting character. I really wanted to see more of him, and I'm disappointed that I didn't. But I still think overall, I enjoyed it. His relationship between, like I said, him and the little girl. I could watch a feature film about just those two characters.
But you didn't.
And it would be so much better.
But you didn't.
You're right, I didn't. I'm agreeing with you.
Right.
I did not.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it a lot. I still enjoy the moments.
Yeah. Ghost Dog: The Way of the Samurai gets a C+ for me. C+.
And
Just
Ghost Dog: The Way the Dog is, or the way Ghost Dog: The Way the Samurai is going to get a 7 out of 10. Also, I forgot to mention the scenes with the actual dog were pretty cool. I did like that as well.
All right. Next week on the PGN podcast, finally the arrival of the most anticipated movie, at least for us, for the summer. We're trying not to let the new trailer, which seems to be more comedic and maybe
please don't be
too revealing. We're trying to keep good faith for Jordan Peele's Nope. We'll be reviewing that next week. We're also going to check out the big new movie coming out on Netflix with Mr. Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans called The Gray Man. That's the only other thing that's going to even try to touch Nope next weekend. And before we get to our very last film that we have to talk about, next week is your turn.
No, it's not your turn. It's
the audience pick. And I turned to my manager this week of many, many decades, Bruce Smith, who is a big cinephile himself, and asked him to throw one at us that he thought we should watch. He picked a film from 1957, so we're going back old again.
Oh, no.
Next week.
This never tends to be my thing.
That tends to be your thing.
No, this never tends to be my thing. The older ones, but I'll give it.
This is a classic. This is a classic that I have never seen. Heard of it, obviously. It's called A Face in the Crowd. It's directed by Elia Kazan. Jackson, for your young generation, Elia Kazan directed a couple little films: Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront.
Oh, I do have to see that.
East of Eden.
And what was it called? Something about a face.
A Face in the Crowd. It stars a very young Andy Griffith, who obviously went on to be in the Andy Griffith Show as Sheriff Andy. Can I do my Barney? I don't do a good Barney.
And?
But this is a dramatic role, A Face in the Crowd. So I'm going to take my manager's word on that one, and we are going to see A Face in the Crowd. A reminder, though, that the following week we need a horrible film. We need you guys to try to top Prayer of the Roller Boys and Street Trash.
Try to top Prayer of the Roller Boys.
Street Trash.
Also, I have a gripe with one of our viewers that I need to bring up right now.
Oh, no.
Because
hate mail.
Same person.
We're getting hate mail?
No. The same person. Holly, yeah. I'm talking to you directly right now. Who recommended us Prayer for the Roller Boys, came into my movie theater.
No, she recommended she recommended Street Trash.
I mean Street Trash.
Yeah.
Had the audacity to gaslight me into thinking that Austin Butler, the man who plays Elvis in the new movie Elvis, is the same person who plays Napoleon Dynamite.
It is.
And I believed it.
It is. Everyone knows Austin Butler.
It's not. Don't do this to me, because I've had this conversation 5 different times with some people.
That's common knowledge.
And not only did she gaslight me into doing that, I had to have the embarrassment of being like, did you guys know that Elvis was played by Napoleon Dynamite? And everyone's like, no, he's not.
You actually said that to people?
Yes, I said it on to some of my friends, and they were like, no, he was not. That's just not true.
John
and
Heater.
They were right. Wow. So what the heck?
John Heater. Yeah. Maybe you should do a little more research on films before you start talking.
Maybe I should.
Bragging about trivia and stuff like
listen,
that.
I'll take half the blame, but that's all.
That's all?
That's all you're getting.
That's all it is, huh? And lastly but not leastly, my son invited me today to go to a screening of a movie through the American Cinematheque. That's the big organization that's big into restoring classic films and finding new films and underground stuff. And we went to a screening in Hollywood of a movie called Mad God. I'm not sure how much time I want to spend on this, Jackson, because I want to keep loving you as a son, and the fact that you took me to this.
Oh, no. Listen, we came into this with the same level of information. You could have backed out. We both saw the trailer. At least I think you did.
No,
I sent it to you.
I hadn't seen the trailer.
I sent it to you, so that's on you.
I didn't watch it. I trusted you.
I saw the trailer. I told you all the history that I knew about it. It's directed by the guy who did all the visuals for Star Wars and a bunch of other classic 80s stop motion films. And that is all that I knew going into this. I didn't know any plot points, nothing.
This was a stop motion film. It was pretty much 3 short films. God knows where the cuts were. I don't know. 3 short films put together. This was
it was one feature film. The short films were more of like he would get. This movie was made over 30 years. Like genuinely was made over 30 years. So he would spend the time to make a good portion.
I can't believe
run out of money, so put out a third of it and then crowdfund, and then it would just
I
keep
can't
going.
believe it took 30 years to make this. I want to apologize to the writers, producers, directors and stars of both Enter the Void and Crimes of the Future with Viggo Mortensen.
You did not have to just throw Enter the Void under the bus like that for
Mad
no
God,
reason. That was that was a side slap in the face for no reason.
Without a doubt,
I haven't even said that I liked it
Till the Day I Die is the worst thing I have ever seen. I am this close to leaving this call. You're no. I knew you weren't gonna like it. I knew you weren't gonna like it. I did not just not
but
like it.
But you have to respect it. You have to respect it.
No, I cannot.
How? It took 30 years to make that. You know how many photos it took to make a stop motion film like that? It's insane. And the set design and the sound design and the score. Come on. Even if you don't like it, you have to at least pay the respects to a man who had a vision of creating an entire world by himself, practically. Written, directed, produced, set designed, animated by Phil Tippett.
Mad Dog gets an F-, and my son owes me an hour.
Okay, but you have to... No. Before I even say anything, you have to tell me you respect this movie to a degree, because this took a lot of work to put in.
I actually don't.
How?
Because I know this guy's credits as far as films go. I mean, he's done the special. Yeah. He did the stop motion for Jurassic Park, RoboCop, tons of films. He's like a master visual effects guy. I was not blown away by the stop motion here. I was not blown away by the sound. I was not blown away by anything. And I was thoroughly...
Okay, I'm so sorry. Disregard every single word that my dad just said, because this is
thoroughly
absurd.
Disgusted by the film. It is so disgusting.
It's absurd.
It's so
absurd
gross
to think that there's no art form in
it is so much gore. It's shitting and pissing.
Yes,
and
oh my god,
gore, and it's nonsense.
Everybody,
it is nonsensical.
This is the film.
It makes
flying over my father's head as we speak.
It makes
just
absolutely no sense. It was
I hate when my dystopian films are gross and hard to watch. Whoosh.
I've seen many a dystopian film. It's if you even try to explain what was happening there, I'm going to call bullshit, because you have no idea
I can do
what
my best.
Any of that was about. And if you do, there's no way to describe what that movie is about without sounding like a pretentious.
Okay.
Well, it's about man's
you have
struggle
this thing where you think that if I can't synopsize a film, then I can't enjoy it.
I just didn't enjoy it
so easily.
I just dared you.
Yes,
I dared you to explain it. Not say if you enjoyed it.
I cannot, and I'm fine with it. I can't, and I'm fine with it, because listen.
Right, but
I have enough.
Listen to me.
I have enough of a grasp of the story to be able to hold on to something. I still the main character I still was rooting for the whole time. I mean, even as he's going through this dystopian society, I'm still making. Okay, we did not watch the same movie. Like,
the main character gets killed one quarter of the way through, and then there's a bunch of them, and then they send another one off at the end. The guy at the end is not the same guy as the beginning.
No. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
They showed a big stack of...
They drilled a hole into his head.
Oh, the guy on the table wasn't the same guy.
And then they put the endoscope into his brain, so they were looking at his memory. That was a memory.
I cannot believe we are even dedicating this much time.
I don't. This is
something that was
no. This isn't Enter the Void levels where I'm like my favorite film. I gave it a 7. But listen, goddamn, is this thing impressive? And you can't deny that.
Mad God gets an F-.
No, I'm not letting this go. I'm not letting this go. You cannot deny this film does not have any artistic merit. That's just a fuck you to this guy who spent 30 years of his life pouring his time, money, and energy into inventing an entire
waste
world
of time and money
by hand, frame by frame, literally.
Let me explain something to you. A commitment of time,
it's not just commitment of time,
money,
because it's well done too.
A commitment of fleshing anything out doesn't raise its level of what the end product is. I could spend 30 years writing a script. 30
I agree.
Years putting my flesh
completely.
And blood into it. And someone could read it
but
and go,
it looks fantastic.
This is horseshit.
It looks fantastic.
No, it looks disturbing and disgusting, and it's gonna.
That's the point. That's the point.
Then if you.
Oh my God.
Okay.
The clip of the guy getting his head drilled through is disgusting. That's the emotion that they're trying to invoke. He did his job right.
Well,
congratulations, Phil Tippett. You made a movie that disgusts people.
That's
crazy.
I don't know who would enjoy watching this besides you and the one lady.
It's like watching Dumb and Dumber and being like, "Oh, he's making stupid noises. That's funny. I can't stand that." That's the emotion that's trying to be invoked within you. If you're watching that movie and you're happy, you're like, "This is so like." You're not supposed to feel like safe, and it's a dystopian society where things have gone to shit. It's not supposed to be like, "Oh, this is beautiful." Like, no, it's gross. It sucks to live in that, and it would suck to be there. Of course.
I love the fact that when the lights came up, we were in a house of 40 people, and you could hear one lady kind of softly clap, and everyone else was just like,
"Okay." The same thing happened when I saw Rand, but you're not gonna tell me that Kurosawa isn't that good. Okay, no. I'm not. You can give this the worst score in the world. You can say it's your least favorite movie.
F-.
You have to admit that this is impressive because that's just a fact. It's just true. How can you look at that and say it's not impressive? Just genuinely, it's shocking to me that you can do that.
I would say that I am impressed that he put an awful lot of time into it. I mean, it shows he worked on it. Look, the shots look like they took a long time. It looked like it took a long time for him to come up with the 8 millionth disgusting looking creature that either shit, pissed, and then there'd be another creature come along.
That's such an oversimplification.
Oh, it's just... And then people get squashed.
Okay. Listen, I did this with End of the Void
and
too.
And then they murdered a little baby.
If you are watching this right now, you go see Mad God. It's on streaming. You don't have to go to a theater. Go watch Mad God. I'm not asking you to like it. Hell, I'm not even asking you to not hate it. But just watch it and tell me to my face that it is not, to some degree, an impressive artistic endeavor. Because it is. Unquestionably. Unquestionably impressive. Regardless of what you think of it.
I think you are confusing the concept of looking at something and going, someone worked really, really, really hard at that. No, I'm not,
because it looks great. It looks fantastic.
Wow.
It looks like the lighting, and the lighting alone is incredible. I mean,
okay,
so many fantastic stills from that movie. So many, innumerable.
Mad God, everybody. The worst thing.
7 out of 10.
The worst
Go,
thing
please,
I've ever
just watch
seen
10 minutes of it if you have to, and just you look at me in my face and tell me that was not impressive. That's crazy talk. I'm shocked right now.
Yeah, the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. Yeah. Which is fine. I'm okay with that. That's fine for you to say. But good Lord. Good Lord. Ugh.
I can't wait to show it to your sister.
Yeah, she would. Yeah, you think you hate it. Well, at least maybe she'd at least respect it. God damn.
It's if I say I hate something, that doesn't mean I don't respect it.
You said you didn't respect it.
No, I never said that. You just kept saying you have to admit at least it looked amazing. And I said, no. I respect the fact that he spent 30 years working on something that apparently he felt really, really passionate about.
Right, but you can't see the art in it, and that's where I'm bothered. Because there is absolutely an art in that, and it's just really
ridiculous
to say there isn't.
I can see art in anything. There are people who see...
okay,
there's people who literally go, I'm throwing my feces against a canvas, and some people see art. So nothing moved me, emoted me. The only emotion that it elicited in me was disgust and boredom. Like, just endless more creatures coming and doing vile stuff. That surgery scene went on forever. I was just like, how many more times is he going to pull jewelry or books out of his stomach? I'm like, literally, that must have been that shot 15 times. I'm just like, okay, I got it. You're digging into him and pulling out chains. I mean, that thing just went on. It just blood.
And it's fine that you don't like that. That's my point. I don't care that you don't like it.
And then that baby creature was crying for like 10 minutes. So 10 minutes I'm listening to this baby creature, and then they just put it into a potato masher and then make bricks out of its body juice and gore. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Please just go watch 10 minutes of this movie, and I'm just telling you, and tell me that it's not. I just can't. I can't have this conversation anymore.
Hey, do you remember?
You know where I stand.
Do you remember how cute Marcel the shell with shoes on was?
I can't even think about that right now. I'm still, and not only did you throwing this on me, but you threw in an End of the Void dig too, which is double messed up. Man.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is we still have yet to find a film that you love that I hate.
A film that I love that you hate.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's always I bring in the movie that...
Maybe that's because one of us has taste. Hey, I'm Regan Burns. You are...
And you're right. You're looking at him right here.
I'm Regan Burns. This is my son.
Jackson Burns. Sorry, I did not catch that.
That's you never do. But trust me,
I know.
By episode 97, you'll probably have it down by then.
There you go.
All right.
That'll be the one.
I'll see you at the dinner table. I love you, buddy.
I love you too, I guess.